Endless Sweets again, and this is our video on how to make your brownie chip cookies. When you open your package, you're going to have your recipe and your packet number 1, and I've gone ahead and gotten all of our other ingredients laid out. I've got my 2 eggs, a cup of natural peanut butter. Of course, this is the kind that I recommend. It's Kroger Natural Creamy Peanut Butter. It has the lowest carb count out of any of the peanut butters that I have seen. And this is the kind that separates, so you're going to have some oil on top. But what I do is I take my hand mixer and just use one of the beaters, stick it all the way down in there, swirl it around a little bit, up and down, and then everything's combined before you start measuring your peanut butter out. That way you don't end up with a bunch of oil. I have my 2 tablespoons of water. We're going to save that for the very end because you may or may not need it. It just depends on your peanut butter and the thickness of your dough. And then I have my vanilla, my spatula, my hand mixer, because I know a lot of you have said, oh, I don't have the right kind of baking tools to make everything that you make, but really you do. It's pretty simple. A hand mixer is good, or if you have big muscles, you could even mix this one up by hand if you want to give it a go. And then lastly, we have our 1.5 tablespoon cookie scoop, or you could just use a tablespoon and, just push it out with your finger, drop it onto your cookie sheet. Whatever you prefer to do is fine. And then we have a couple of parchment lined baking sheets and our cooking spray, because even if you use parchment, you're going to want to go ahead and put a light layer of cooking spray on it. Making these cookies is super easy. Literally, you're just going to dump all of the ingredients into the bowl and mix them up. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Alright, there's our packet. Our cup of peanut butter. Get all that in there. Put in 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. I usually just eyeball it. Alright. And now we mix. Alright, as you can see, my dough is pretty thick. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit of that water just to make it a little easier to work with. So I'm just going to add about half of it and mix it again. Alright, let's check it again. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's going to be really thick and it's going to be sticky. So don't let that alarm you. It's supposed to look like that. Alright, now we're going to add our chocolate chips. Alright, so we're going to start with about 1/4 cup. That should be about right. And I usually just fold these in by hand. I'm not moving. I might add a few more in just for good measure. Because you want to make sure you have enough chips to where you get a chocolate chip in every cookie. All right, now we're all ready to scoop them out. Put them on our pan. Okay, this is just your standard size half sheet pan. And give it a little white spray to prevent sticking. And then I'm just going to scoop the cookies. Alright, so now we have got our cookies all trayed up, and I wound up with a couple extra. Look at there, I was only supposed to have 18, but I ended up with 21. Score! Alright, I've already got my oven preheated to 350 degrees, so I'm going to put these in there, and I'm going to check them right at 8 minutes. If you like the soft-baked, ooey-gooey cookies, then you'll probably want to go ahead and pull them out at 8 minutes. If you like them a little more well done, you're going to leave them in there probably about 9 to 10 minutes, but just keep an eye on them. They're going to puff up really big, and then as they cool, they're going to fall. But I'm going to go put my cookies in the oven, and I will be back in just a minute. Okay, here are our cookies, hot out of the oven. They look great. They smell even better. I usually just let them cool on the cookie sheets for a little while before I transfer them to the baking rack, because they are really soft when they're warm, so you want to give them a little time to set up before you go messing with them, because you don't want them to fall apart. And the cool thing about this recipe is if you're making peanut butter whoopie pies, it's the exact same thing, only you don't have the cocoa powder in your mix, and you don't add the chocolate chips at the end. But you're doing the same exact thing, and you're cooking them the same amount of time. The only difference is I use a 1 tablespoon scoop most of the time when I do the whoopie pies, just because, you know, when you eat one of those, you're eating 2 cookies, and it helps keep the carb count down if you use a little bit smaller scoop. But that is all I have for you right now on these cookies. I'm just going to let them cool, and then I'm going to enjoy 1 or 2 of them. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, feel free to message me on Facebook, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I hope you all have a great day, and stay sinless.